Sing happy birthday. That's what you get for putting up with me every day. So thank you very much, Meg, and happy birthday. The next item on that I want to do is give Representative Hoy a moment of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to introduce my intern, Maya Torres. She is a junior at KU. Please welcome her.
Maya, where's your hometown? Wichita. All right, we won't hold that against you. All right. Next item on the agenda is bill introductions. Do we have any bill introductions today? You don't have the RS number? Okay, all right. Any other bill introductions? All right, if not, we're going to get right into our presentations today. Today we have a update on what's going on at the Kansas Turnpike by Steve Hewitt, the Executive Officer. Welcome to the committee, Steve.
Yes, thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon, committee members. We always love the opportunity to get in front of you and give an update on what we're doing at the Kansas Turnpike. And this particular past year, we've done some really big things, and we want to give an update on kind of how that's rolling out. So, again, Steve Hewitt, I've been a CEO now for 10 years, and I'm very proud to say we have done a lot of amazing infrastructure and operational changes and improvements the past 10 years. The good thing is I'm not going to ask for anything from you. I'm just here to give a presentation. I hope to answer your questions on some of the things we've been doing. Obviously, cashless tolling is the big thing we've rolled out, but we obviously have more than just that going on, and we're going to hopefully get into that a little bit more. Make sure I get this. I need to turn it on. Okay, all right. Well, we'll start off with our mission and vision. Our mission and vision, we love to tell the story, but again, it's a very direct and pointed and I think powerful, positive message. We want to offer a safe, reliable road, and we offer it in a business-like manner. We're focused on customers. It's fun to look at the history because a lot of our values, they've never changed. Since 1956 when we opened, it's always been a choice. The Kansas Chamber had this vision to connect our largest cities, Wichita, into Topeka, into Lawrence and Kansas City. It didn't want to put a burden on the taxpayers, so we started the toll road. And still to this day, I'm proud to say, we don't take any tax dollars. We are living and dying by those tolls. We don't take any federal dollars. We don't take any state dollars. Half of our traffic comes from out of state. That's nice to know because a lot of out of staters that are driving through us are helping pay and fund the Kansas Turnpike, and we have some of the lowest tolls in the country. And we'll talk more about that in a minute, but we're very proud that we've got a great quality system, and we've had that and focused on those values that provide a great system since 1956. Some fun facts here, just to give you, we are 236 miles from the Oklahoma border up to Kansas City. We have 9 different maintenance facilities along the Kansas Turnpike. We have about a little over 300 full-time employees that help us in all areas to make sure that we manage this system the right way. We have retail and call center locations. Our main headquarters in Wichita that has a retail and call center. We also have our secondary location here in Topeka, our new facility at Kansas down the road here. And Kansas and Topeka, we're very proud of that new facility. That's also retail as well as a call center, houses our engineers and our legal staff. Very proud of that new facility here in Topeka. We also then have a new retail and call center location in Lawrence. So we've got a number of folks trying to offer help to any of our folks and customers along the state, here in the state. I also want to point out, we have our own dedicated highway patrol. I know the highway patrol's here today. We appreciate Troop G is dedicated to the Kansas Turnpike Authority. 47 troopers are contracted. We pay 100% of that. I pay the cars, the fuel, the uniforms, the benefits, the salaries, everything. So no burden on the Kansas taxpayers for what we do. We utilize our toll toll dollars to cover that. We understand we're a very important freight route. We did an economic impact study a number of years ago. 12% of the Kansas economy runs right through the Kansas Turnpike. And so we know we need to have a quality road, and it's important to Kansas economy. We do about $150 million expected this year in revenues. We have the highest bond rating you can receive for a turnpike public agency. So we're in great financial condition. We have a great infrastructure, and we're proud to have great low tolls and offer a good system. 10 years ago, we really dove into customer service and listening to customers and making sure we got their feedback. So we started surveys, and we recently just got wrapped up in late 24, our 2024 survey. 90% of our customers like the cashless tolling system. 94% of our customers understand our importance to Kansas transportation. Over 35,000 surveys were turned in 2024. We had 38,000 surveys turned in 2023. So it shows a very high satisfaction. Listen, we always want to listen to customers. We always want to be better. Can we always improve? Yes, and we're working towards that. And we listened to our customers when we talked about cashless tolling, and that's a big part of it. You know, July 1st, we rolled out cashless tolling. This was a huge investment, a huge endeavor, a big project. We spent over $100 million on this new system. This was the right time to move to cashless tolling for a number of reasons. I'll give you the top three. Number one, safety. When you remove the items in the road that block and slow you down, it creates a better, we keep things moving, that's better safety. So it's a safety item, number one. Number two, customers, we listen to customers' convenience and service. We wanted to make sure we're listening to them. And number three, it was operationally the right time. And we say that because, number one, we had old, aging out toll equipment we were going to have to make a major investment in that was, it lived its life out and really was not the way tolling was going. So we're going to have to make a major investment anyway. Number two, we had an aging workforce. Toll collectors, 75% of our toll collectors, when we finally decided to do this 5 years ago, we knew in 2024, 75% of them could retire. That was good. The other 25%, we're happy to say, we could put them in call center, customer service, and other jobs in our agency. So it was a really good opportunity for us to make it from a workforce standpoint. And then it came down to efficiency. We have a reputation of low tolls, affordable tolls. We want to maintain that. And that efficiency in cashless tolling, when we have less capital in the lane at the plazas, less human capital, when we have less employees, we are able to create, and I'm proud to say, if you have a transponder, a K-tag in your car, you have the lowest toll rates in the country per mile. And we're proud to say that. And we still have enough money because of our efficiency and productivity to offer a great system. So as a big rollout, listen, we understand over 6 months, they come hiccups, come the challenges. We're still fine tuning those challenges. We made some breakthroughs in those. We're very excited about it. But understanding with a major project like this, we've had to, beef up our customer support staff, our self-service channels, making sure more tools are for our customers to pay their bills or get information, ongoing training to our staff as we brought in more staff, additional staff to make sure we meet the needs of the customers. Some things we learned. We brought in consultants, we talked to other agencies, but clearly we knew early on we were going to have some challenges, and our call centers were overwhelmed. And so between fine-tuning some things like that, bringing in some more call center staff, we're able to answer those needs. So we're dedicated to being perfect. We're not perfect, but we want to try to strive to that, and we want to continue to meet. So we keep adding tools and doing that. After 6 months, we've learned a lot. We're much better than we were in July, but by this next July, we should be even better than we are here in January. So we're going to continue to strive that. That's our effort. One of the big rollouts and probably questions, is Drive KS. So Drive KS is our new online portal system. So if you have questions about your tolling, if you have a K-tag or don't have a K-tag, you go in there, sign in, you can get information about your tolls. Driving folks to this app on your phone or the website can get you the information. It's a one-stop shop for all. It doesn't matter business, personal, it doesn't matter K-tag, non-K-tag, get your information. Like if you have a rental car, you manage your rental fleet, manage your business fleet. Go in there, sign up, put your tag in there, and avoid some of those additional charges and And so this is a really nice feature, but we've had to educate a lot on this, and we continue to do that. We still have an ongoing marketing effort to make sure we educate and provide information to our customers. But the thing that hasn't changed is K-Tag. Your K-Tag, your life didn't change. Still works the same way. Still saves you the most money. It's still free if you want one. And we can get you a K-Tag. You give us a payment method, we'll get you a K-Tag. And listen, if you want to talk to us, you can always call us, you can email us, you can go to social media, send us a message. Always come to our retail locations. K-Tag is still your best option to get the lowest tolls in the country, and that will be the case from here on out. We're saving the money because of our operational savings. We don't have to look you up, look your license plate up, find you, and wait for you to pay for us. So that savings in operations, we are sending that right to the customer, the K-Tag customer. And so understanding the toll rates, they will double for non-K-Tag folks. So you don't want to do that. We still have low tolls even with our non-K-Tag toll rates, but the best in the country is something to brag about and have a great system. So again, K-Tag is your best option. K-Tag also, we also like to mention this, compatible with other states, Oklahoma, Texas, Florida, now Colorado. We also have some national partners as well, Pre-Pass, Best Pass, National Pass, as well as Bank Pass. And I want to mention Bank Pass because some people, there's a lot of people that say, I don't want to give you a credit card. I don't have a credit card. I don't want to give you my bank account. But I still want to get the transponder. I still want to get the cheaper rates. How do I do that? Bank Pass is a partnership. We signed up with them. They provide, with an agreement they got with Kroger, go to your local Dillons. I can preload a Bank Pass with cash, and then we will give the best toll rate to Bank Pass. It works in the lane. So I'm a cash customer. I want to remain a cash customer. I don't want you to have my information. I don't want to give you information. Not a problem. Bank Pass is your best way to go. So we work with Bank Pass to promote this. We appreciate our partnership with Bank Pass. And I appreciate Bank Pass's effort to get out to Kroger's and Dillons to make sure that that option's out there. And we'll continue to push that going forward and educate the public on that service. Listen, I want to let everybody know we are here to help. Again, big change. Bear with us on this change. We're better than we were in July, but we're going to get better each month as we continue to get our staff trained. Add our staff. We have a third-party additional call center folks that have come on board to help us. We've tweaked our, and fixed our issues in the lane, some readers and different things. It happens. The key thing is reach out to us, call us, email us. If you have questions, you can go to our website, driveks.com. You always have ks.turnpike.com. We've got YouTube videos that understand all your questions and issues. The app's there for you to go to and get help. We have our customer service centers. We really want to make sure we've expanded our efforts. That we've spent some money, expand our efforts to make sure that we provide and get your questions answered. Listen, we don't want any complaints. We don't want any bad customer service, but we understand when you roll out a new large project like this, you're going to have some fine tuning to do. We've had that, but we feel very, very happy that we're getting closer and closer meeting our customer service goals and make sure we answer all your questions on time and get your information and fix things. But any issue, don't hesitate to call us. We want to help. Beyond cashless tolling, though, you've probably seen, I want to point this out as basically a kind of a public service announcement as well, the scams that are out there. There are a lot of scams that are out there. They send you texts, and it's all to get your bank account information or personal information. The Kansas Turnpike does not solicit through text your tolls. We don't do that. So if you owe money through us, you're not going to get a text from us. So understand that. And look at those fake addresses. Make sure to tell your constituents or if you see this or anybody you know to really look, because they're really good. If you click on it, it looks very much like Drive KS. They are very good. But that is not our website. Double check and make sure it's not Drive KS or the Kansas Turnpike directly. So I want to point that out because we know at least 9 different websites have come up, and we've worked with the feds to get those taken down. There are foreign folks trying to obviously get your information. If you have any concerns or your customers do, please don't hesitate to call us. But we want to caution the public, and we'll continue to push that out to avoid these fake scams that are out there. I think this is the new norm, but it means that we can't stop publicly reminding folks to be careful of what they click on and do. But talking about information and security, though, we take our customer security very seriously. We're dedicated to make sure to protect the information. We don't sell or provide information of our customers to anybody. In fact, if the Chairman Francis has a KTAG account and he does not provide his wife to us on his account information, if she calls and wants to see his KTAG information, he's not put it on the account, I'm not going to give it to her. We want to make sure that we protect that information. Although I know Representative Francis doesn't, he has his wife on this account, but, you know, she knows everywhere he goes, I'm sure, you know. Yeah. But I say that tongue in cheek, but really seriously, we protect the information. So if you don't authorize someone to be on your account, we're not going to give that information out. We also, we have a robust retention policy. We don't hold on to things very long. We make sure that we don't need it. We don't hold it. We have data encryption. We have coupons for credit cards. We don't see it. We have 24/7, 365 monitoring. We're making sure, listen, this is the day and age. You have to invest a lot in security. And we are dedicated to making sure that your information, our customer information is secure, and we'll continue that. And we've invested a lot and we'll continue to invest. We also get questions and asked about partnerships like interchanges or additional things for other communities. Listen, we are always open to new projects. How we look at this, if the local government, a city, county, state wanted to look at us, have us look at a potential interchange, we look at these as cost share opportunities. What we do, we will partner with feasibility studies. Listen, as we talk about, we don't take any tax dollars. We operate like a business, so we have to make sure the money can be funded. Do we have the revenue? Do we have the revenue to cover this long term for not only the construction, the ongoing maintenance and operations? So we look at those. We'll do studies and we'll talk about cost shares. We recently have a couple of studies we've done. We've worked with the city of Auburn right down the road here, city of Topeka. We've done things with KDOT on outer loops like at Kansas City and Wichita. And it doesn't typically ever pay for 100% of the project. So usually a cost share. And does a city, county, or state want to work with us on that, potential cost share? We look at that. But we are willing to do those things. You just contact us and we'll talk about it and we'll present it to our board, and we're willing to do studies to find out, does it make sense? With cashless tolling, the infrastructure in the plazas is not there like it once was. It's less construction. So, now inflation has obviously been high the last few years, but maybe things are affordable more than they used to be from a standpoint of we don't have as much infrastructure in the lane that we used to have, and I think that's a good thing. Speaking of projects like interchanges, we do more than cashless tolling, obviously. We have dedicated over we're in phase 3 of a safety assessment. The last 10 years, we're wrapping up a long-term needs study, which is really a capital improvement plan. And we identified a lot of projects. In fact, 50 large, big projects that we have wrapped up over the last 10 years. We've spent over $800 million on those projects. And we did that all debt-free. We used it through our cash we pulled in. And from bridge raising, drainage, truck parking, pavement, curves, friction, water. Our phase 3 assessment really has looked at the impact of pavement and making it safer for our driver on the roadway. There's water or ice or friction. We were looking at a lot of things. We are committed to make this a system as safe as possible with technology and or adjustments to our system. We've raised over 70 bridges to the minimum 15.9 height to make sure it's good for freight. And we'll continue to do that. It's important that we to take care of our commercial customers and all customers, that we move freight, help Kansas, and get folks there safer. And just a look at 2025, here's a look at some 8 large projects we're going to tackle here in 2025, including some demo at our plazas. You'll see some of those plazas go away, and then we've got a few of them still left up. We'll be taking those down. We're going to spend about $50 million here in 2025 on projects. So we're really excited about, from bridges to pavement and to our wrap up the toll system stuff. So we're very excited about a big summer and spring and summer and fall of construction for us. What's next? People always ask me, what's next with Kansas Turnpike? Well, we are partnering with KDOT on the US 69 Express. That is a managed lane project in Overland Park. It's from 103rd to 151st Street. about a 6-mile lane. This is the busiest 4-lane in the state, and KDOT tackled it. We're going to manage the managed lane piece on the tolling side. This is a KDOT project. The whole entire project is going to be completed by KDOT and their contractors, but we're going to manage the toll lane. So basically, that managed lane is a choice to get in there. It'll have congestion pricing, managed pricing, decide if you want to get in that lane and go a little faster, pay a little premium. We're going to work with KDOT on that, and so they don't have to create a tolling department. They'll use us. We're not going to make any profit off this. We're just going to pass our costs through to KDOT, collect the dollars, and pass it on to KDOT as well from the tolls. And that is a cost share program they've been working with Overland Park with. This is our first expanded outside our typical the 236 miles we've ever done. And so that is because of some legislation that passed a few years back that allow us to partner with KDOT and communities to do this. I think that's back in 2019, and so I came out of the task force, actually. And so I think it's really nice that we get an opportunity to utilize this. The community wants it. KDOT would like to utilize us, and our new cashless tolling technology allows us to work with KDOT on this managed lane. So more to come on that, but that is scheduled to open in January of 26. I know KDOT will give you some more information on the actual project construction itself coming up, but just wanted to lay that out there that we are a part of that program. And you can see the website for more information, 69express.ks.gov. Help you learn more about that, or you can always reach out to us and we'll get you those questions answered. And just to, again, to wrap up, we always love coming and talk to you. I'm not asking for anything, just want to tell you what we're doing and answer your questions. Again, we don't take any tax dollars. We have the lowest tolls in the country when it comes to our K-tag tolls per mile count. And we're working towards making our cashless tolling system. We're fine tuning that. We're 6 months in. We're going to keep making it better. We're excited to where it's at and what it's doing, and a safer roadway and convenient and faster for our customers. Again, it's nice to know that half of our customers come from out of state. And I'll just say we had about 40 million travelers last year. So there's a lot of folks on that 236 miles, and half of that's coming from out of state. We're focused on safety and improving our system. We are dedicated to making sure we have a safe system. And again, we just appreciate the opportunity to tell our good story. And I will stand for questions, Chairman, as you want.
Committee, Representative Goddard. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for your presentation. It was very, very good presentation. My question has to do with the acceptance of the K-tag in other states. I see that we have Oklahoma, Texas, et cetera, but what about places like Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio on their toll systems? Are you in any kind of negotiations, or how do you go about getting the K-tag to be accepted on those tollways?
Yeah, great question. We are part of the IBTTA, which is the International Tolling Association, and we are working towards a national effort to get compatible with every state. It's all about technology and agreements. And so, yes, we want to work with folks in the Northeast like EasyPass and others. And EasyPass is updating their technology. We are ready for them. We look forward to them getting ready and set some agreements up within our Southwest hub, which is the states we work with. So yes, we'll continue to look at that at other locations. I think going west of California, southeast, we'll continue to try to expand as much as those states are ready. When they're ready, we'll see that expand. So I don't know when it's going to happen, but you'll see year after year us expanding, hopefully with other states, which will make it easier and convenient, which guarantees our tolls and then makes things more convenient for you not to worry about digging change out of your pocket or worrying about what you're going to be charged. You're getting the lowest toll rate in their state. So I think that's coming soon. We'll keep working towards that, and we are working towards that right now.
Thank you. And I really think that it would be probably a benefit to people, particularly in the Chicago area that might be traveling through, to use our tollway. So I appreciate the effort to get a universal toll system. That'd be a great thing for not only us, but across the country. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Representative Proctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here today, sir. I've got two questions, if I could, Mr. Chair. The first one, on the 69 project, Is there a end time? Because I mean, like for the turnpike, the tolls you're collecting are kind of keeping it running and keeping it maintained. Is that extra lane on 69 always going to be tolled, or is there going to be some point where you've paid off the project and they're no longer going to have to pay to be in that lane?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I don't have that information in front of me. That agreement's actually between the city of Overland Park and KDOT. So I think the secretary is going to be in front of you tomorrow. He's going to have that information. I don't know if there's an end date to that or not. I cannot answer that. Our agreements with KDOT, as long as they have the tolling in place, we will manage that for them and pass it back to them. That's our agreement.
Thank you. And my other question I really appreciate you bringing up the fraud issue. It's endemic. I mean, my wife got one that gets one about every 6 months, and I hear from constituents all the time about it. Have you all considered either on radio or on television just telling people, hey, we're not going to text you? Because, they are very convincing.
In fact, we have. We actually have worked with local media and local news folks to push that out. You'll see us periodically through the year, or when things really beef up from a standpoint, and that's maybe the wrong terminology. When scams get heavier and a big scam comes out, you'll see us push that out. So we'll do some service announcements throughout the year, both internally as externally to our partners for sure.
Is that just through like news stories, or do you also do paid advertising or like public service announcements?
So we do paid advertisement, but we focus that on best bang for a buck. So that's a K-tag effort. We'll see. We'll give as much public service announcement information as we can that they'll allow us to. And so what we can do, and we'll continue to do that through both television, radio, internet, other ways. And so and we've spent things on geofencing and different things to push out information to try to warn people or advertise. But we don't solicit from the standpoint of what you talk about, trying to get a toll. You owe us money, get online, pay us now. We don't do those kind of things. So, but yeah, we'll continue to push that. And as we feel the best way to reach that message out, we'll be pushing it out.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Vaughn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the presentation. I have 2 quick questions. The first, I was just curious what happened to the staff who were working at the tolling stations, if they were maybe offered opportunities to transfer to like the customer service portion of the operation. And then second question, which is more of a curious question, for people who don't have a K-tag, how does the technology work to do the cashless tolling?
Great questions. Let's talk about our toll collectors first, because number one, our toll collectors were really our front porch to the Kansas Turnpike. They were great. They did a great service, and they were happy, and they smiled, and they offered a great service, and they were actually then are collecting those important dollars. So we did care about them. So what we did, we put a workforce transition plan in place, and we offered job training, job shadowing, continuing education at multiple vocation or university or schools to try to help our folks plan for the future. We knew 75% of them would be able to retire, and they were able to retire by the July 1st date of 2024. The other 25%, so we had well over 100 toll collectors left in the system. So about 25 or so left, we were able to get them into call center jobs, customer service jobs, retail jobs, all but 3. And 3 were offered jobs, but 3 chose to do something different for their next career. So we're very pleased that, everybody left with an opportunity, and most of them did stay with us. So we're very proud of that, because we didn't want to neglect our staff, and our culture is important to us to have good quality staff. As for the technology, if you don't have a K-tag, that's a great question as well. So simply, if you do not have a K-tag, you'll drive under the toll zone. You'll see the big gantries on the roadway, and that is in a relationship to the 2 interchanges you went through. So you have that mile marker in there, so that mileage you went through. We take a picture of your license plate. We then throw it through our DMV lookup, and we find out who you are. We then send you a bill in the mail for that toll. Or tolls, and we wait for you to pay. And so as you can see, that is a cumbersome, more lengthy and staff time. That's why the tolls are higher for those You obviously don't have to have a K tag. You can do it that old-fashioned way, but that's how we do it. And so we're successful in that way. We get a lot of the license plates, and we have great relationships with other states to find out who's traveling and who's out there, and we get them a bill. But we always encourage the K tag because it saves us money, saves you headaches, and those are how. But that's how it works without the K tag.
I do love my K tag, so
Thank
it
you.
works well. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Representative Hobson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for your presentation. I have two questions, both dealing with data security. First of all, first data security and data retention. For people who are no longer live in our state that may have had K tags, how long do you keep their information? Maybe say, for instance, they go to KU or K-State, but they keep using our highways, and say, for instance, they graduated and they move back to their states. And they had a K tag. Do you retain their data, their personal information, or is it deleted after a certain amount of time?
Eventually, if there's no activity, it is part of our retention policy. We would know who this was and the information, but we wouldn't hold their payment information if they were inactive. So we have a robust retention policy. We keep certain data from photographs to information. We have a coupon program, so we don't even know your credit card information. We know who you were and where you're at and that you're on us, but we don't provide that to anybody else. But eventually, some of your data would be erased based on what that is. But we would still know that you and have your information, maybe your potential home address. It may have changed, we may not, and those kind of things, but we would keep that for a while until to a certain point, and then we would eventually delete it.
When you say for a while, how long is that? Do you know?
Yeah, I don't have that in front of me. If you wouldn't mind, if the chairman wouldn't mind, I could get you our retention policy and provide it to everybody so you can see kind of how we do things and where we hold information, how long we hold it. And then basically we have a philosophy, we try to use common sense. So if you don't need your information, you've been inactive, we erase it, like for photographs and information. But if we need it, and obviously then we hold it and we restore it and we protect it. And so that you're not getting out there and, to the world. But, there's some things we hold longer than others.
That kind of leads into my second question with respect to security. How often do you check for hackers, like people trying to break into your system to, steal information? I mean, is it reported to Department of Transportation? Do people get notifications if there is a potential breach of through your systems?
Yeah, daily. Our staff's looking daily, 24/7, 365 monitoring. We use additional help to help us as well as our staff, but we're looking daily for those things. And I'll be honest with you, I think they try to get us daily. I think they're trying, through AI and different things. I think they try to get into us all the time. So we're monitoring constantly, and that's just that's the new world we live in.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Weigel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I apologize for being a little late for my last meeting. I have one quick question. You were talking about community partnerships as far as safety. Where are we as far as coordinating with Shawnee County on the Auburn type on-off ramp? Is that, I know that's out there, but I haven't heard anything in the last few weeks. If you could share with me if you have anything updates on that.
I will tell you what I know, and I don't know, it may not be more than you know, but here, we've committed our $9 million to the project. It's about a $20 million project for the interchange. So our board and team have dedicated that, and it's there sitting there and ready to commit to the project. I know that Shawnee delegation has gone to DC and lobbied for some federal dollars. One thing I didn't mention, federal dollars are a little shaky for us, so we're looking for an exemption that doesn't affect. If federal dollars from the transportation folks would affect our service areas and federalize us, and we do not take those federal dollars, and we don't want to take those federal dollars. But there potentially could be some federal dollars not in the transportation system. We're looking for a waiver if they are able to get those dollars. So I know they're lobbying very hard, working with the Kansas delegation up there, but I don't know any details beyond just what I said. I haven't heard an update yet, but our funding ready to do the project is still there, is still committed, and will be committed when Shawnee Auburn is able to come up with the gap.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just wondering, say in the case of someone does not have a K tag and they cashless tolling, they, use the turnpike and they get sent a bill. What happens if they don't pay that bill? Is that go to collections, or do you take any effort to collect that?
Yes, in typical business, if you don't pay, you're going to go to collections. We're going to use our own team to push it. Then we'll push a third-party team. We have collection agencies that help us. We go after those dollars. And we look at the threshold of how much the toll has grown. So, obviously, we're not going to get a company to go chase a $3 toll, but we have folks that will continue to use it and run $20, $30, $40, $100 in tolls, and so then they'll go to collections, and we'll fight them through that way. And that typically any utility or city would do. We fight the same way, go after those folks to have them paid.
Okay, and one more question, if you don't mind. So in that case, I know it's still fairly new, but are there people out there running up very high balances yet, or?
Well, I don't define high. Yes, there are folks that have not paid. So what we currently see right now, we're over 85% of collected dollars. That's what we're seeing. So that's a good. I want that number to get closer to 90. We're going to continue to add some technology, make it easier for customers to pay quicker, faster. I think that's the key. So we'll be doing some things like some efforts with our when you can call in, our website. And then collections will help us as well, so that'll drive that number up. But there's going to be a number that we're not going to collect. And we had that even with open road tolling, those who would bypass the gates and go to the K-tag lane, and they shouldn't have. So we have some folks that do that. When you do a cost-benefit analysis, obviously, we want that percentage to be lower than the fact that, we understand the cost of doing business. We're going to lose a percentage. We want that percentage to be as low as possible. We have goals. We haven't reached those goals yet. We're also just 6 months in, but we're going after that every way we can. But we'll have a write-off potentially over time, but we don't give up just right away. We have multiple tools. There's civil suits. There's registration holds. There's a bunch of things we've not used yet. We may or may not use, but we are going to make every effort, because what I don't want to do, I don't want to have to raise tolls to those who do the right thing for those who do the wrong thing. And so our board is very aware and supportive of making sure that we take care of those folks. And right now it's in our business model. We can handle it. But we want to get as much of those folks to pay as possible.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to have to make sure we leave some time for our other conferee, but we've got one more question from Vice Chairman Essex.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Steve, for being here. I think I've heard this presentation like 3 or 4 times. I keep learning more. Just a quick question. I have a constituent who sold their car and they're still getting billed toll charges. What is your relationship with KDOR, or how do you communicate when the license plate changes hands?
Yeah, that's a tough one for us. So obviously, the K tag in the car is just to that license plate or to that owner. And if it's sold and they don't take it out, what they just need to do is reach out to us and let us know the details of that particular issue. Hey, I sold this car here. They didn't take it out. They're running up those tolls. And what we're going to try to do is then tie it back to that other owner. It's going to be a challenge, but we may or may not be able to do that. But we'll work with them to try every effort to try to do that. So they just reach out to us and let us know the time frame, what happened, when it happened, and we will work through them to try to make it right.
Mr. Hewitt, are you going to have someone stick around? I know you guys have another meeting in just a little bit, but it'd be great. Some people think.
Yes, we're going to stick around. And I want to also point out, I've got a number of staff here today. We have a board meeting here in Topeka, and we're all up here, so they came out. But we will make sure that after this meeting, somebody sticks around from our staff. They'll have a KTA pin. It'll probably be me, and to answer all your questions and make sure if I missed something. But never hesitate to call us and let us know, and I will get the retention policy, get our staff to send that out to your team chairman and make sure that it gets out to everybody. And so anything else, let us know.
So one thing, is there any way you could send Meg like a contact number and a contact person? I know one of the things that I think is very important to every member of this committee is to be able to provide good customer service to our constituents. And I know I get asked a lot of questions, and I know I've got a good contact person on speed dial, but if you could get us
Yes,
another number.
I'm gonna make sure that you have our liaison and is contact information's there, and you can reach out to her directly, and hopefully that, any questions, go to her, and then she will find the right department head or a person, if she can't answer herself, to find out what your question is, and we're gonna help you out. And so, bear with us. We're going through a new system, but we appreciate your time, and we're here to help, and we want to make it right. The key is work with us, and we'll work it out with and make it right for the customer.
And I just want to thank all of the KTA staff. I mean, you really do give good customer service to me all the time, and I see the professionalism throughout the year. So thank you for your efforts. All
Thank you
right.
for your time. Yeah, thank you.
All right, committee. Representative Hoheisel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've got to run to a meeting. I do have an RS number, though, if we can open up a bill draft request real quick.
Yeah, they're going to.
With the permission of the ranking member, Helgerson.
You're taking their time.
Oh,
You're on the
well,
list. Yeah, we'll
zero,
reopen. We'll go back to the item of request for bill introductions. Representative Hoheisel, do you have a? bill?
yeah, RS 0311. It deals with EV registration fees.
It was RS what again?
0311.
All right. Is there any questions for Representative Hoheisel? Is there any objection to the introduction of the bill? If not, it's entered. Okay, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda, we'll return to the agenda. We'll have a presentation on the Kansas Highway Patrol by Merle Riedel.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. My name is Merle Riedel, and I am the Executive Officer for the Kansas Highway Patrol. And I'm here today to talk about some of the current operations for the Highway Patrol. And I understand we have some limited time, so we'll try to move through this fairly quickly. Joining me today is Colonel Eric Smith, Superintendent of the Highway Patrol, Sherry Mackey, Deputy Secretary for Business Operations at the Highway Patrol, and we also have Lieutenant Roy Wise, a Public and Governmental Affairs Officer for the Highway Patrol. And if the chairman permits, I'd like to kind of run through this presentation, and then the Colonel is available to come up and field any questions the committee might have. All right, so on the screen or on your handout, you'll see a graphic. Now, this graphic kind of represents how you would traditionally see the Kansas Highway Patrol and how you might traditionally think of our organization. Troopers in this graphic, troopers are conducting typical traffic and highway enforcement. They're divided into 8 regional troops, or what we would refer to as road troops. And you can see this by beginning with Troop A in the top right. That's Troop A in Kansas City. As we move counterclockwise around that graphic, you'll see Troop B in Topeka, Troop C in Salina, Troop D in Hayes, Troop E in Garden City, Troop F in Wichita, and Troop 8 in Chanute. What you do not see is Troop G, which is the Kansas Highway Patrol assigned to our good friends at the Kansas Turnpike Authority. That's Troop G. Each troop is further divided into zones. And current staffing level permits 1 to 2 troopers per zone, which unfortunately is not exactly optimal. So for example, in Troop D in the top left, you might see 2 troopers are covering about an 8-county region. So this can be challenging at these levels when attempting to provide 16 or 24-hour coverage, particularly when we are experiencing some staffage shortages. Here you'll see an organizational chart. We did recently reorganize to align similar functions under executive commanders. And I just want to kind of very quickly review what that structure or that organizational chart includes. So on the left, you'll see under the direct supervision of the superintendent, that includes administrative services, so fiscal operations, fleet operations, human resources. You'll also see protective services, which includes the Capitol Police. And you'll see our professional standards units, which that investigates allegations of misconduct among agency employees and monitors compliance with professional standards regarding items like investigations. On the right, you'll see units under the direct supervision of the assistant superintendent. That includes the field operations of North and South bureaus, which was that graphic of regional troops we were talking about earlier. You'll also see the Special Operations Bureau, so that includes Troop J, our training academy, Troop S, Special Operations, Hazardous Device Unit, and Canine Unit, and Troop A, which is our aircraft unit. Also, you'll see our Technical Operations Bureau. That includes Troop I, the Motor Carrier Inspection Program, Troop M, which is our Communications and Dispatch Center, and the Public and Governmental Affairs Unit. We also have the Investigative Operations Bureau. That includes Troop M, Criminal Introduction and Drug Enforcement, Troop O, Felony Investigative Unit, and Troop V, Vehicle Identification Number or VIN Inspection Unit. So I want to just highlight a few significant changes that occurred as part of that reorganization. Here you'll see a graphic of protective services. We did consolidate several functions under a new Protective Services Bureau. So that includes the Capitol Police, Executive Protection Unit, and Homeland Security. These units previously existed but fell under multiple commands. This reorganization consolidates those functions under one bureau. A little bit of detail on the elements of that bureau. You'll see the Capitol Police. So pursuant to KSA 754503, Capitol Police provides safety and security for visitors and state employees in the Capitol Complex grounds. So in addition to the State House, the Capitol Complex includes many things. It includes multiple state office buildings and other facilities that in fact house all three branches of state government. So addressing threats to elected officials and disputes against state agencies while maintaining a productive level of public engagement requires a unique set of skills, specialized training, and access to relevant intelligence. And that's what our Capitol Police professionalizes. Also, as part of that Protective Service Bureau is the Executive Protection Unit. So pursuant to KSA 74-2105, the Highway Patrol operates the Executive Protection Unit that provides security for the governor and other public officials as assigned. That unit receives intelligence and maintains the capability to mitigate and respond to potential threats at Cedar Crest, the governor's office here in the State House, and provide security for the governor while in transit. Also part of that Protective Service Bureau is the Homeland Security Program. That is the state administering agency for federal Homeland Security grant funding that is provided as aid to local units of government. These grants assist state, local, tribal, territorial efforts in preventing, protecting against, mitigating, and responding to acts of terrorism and other threats. Certain troopers from the Homeland Security Office also are assigned to the Kansas Intelligence Fusion Center, which actually provides threat assessments that really feeds much of the work of the Protective Services Bureau. Homeland Security Office also coordinates a mobile field force unit that draws on troopers from other units to rapidly deploy a trained force to address or restore civil order or matters of public safety. So the next part of that reorganization is the Investigative Operations Bureau. That bureau was established to consolidate certain existing investigative functions, such as the Troop V Inspection Unit, or VIN Inspection Unit, and Troop N in Criminal Interdiction and Drug Enforcement. And it also included a newly created Troop O Felony Investigations Unit. Let me talk a little bit about Troop N. They specialize in enforcement activities targeting individuals that use Kansas roadways for criminal activities such as drug trafficking, human trafficking, and violent crime. The unit manages the collection and storage of evidence and administers the forfeiture of criminal proceeds adjudicated through state and federal courts. Certain staff from this unit are also assigned to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency Task Force and the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force. Troop O was created to investigate certain felony cases that are initiated by the Highway Patrol. So troopers from this unit are stationed at field troops throughout the state and specialize in conducting investigations. So the unit effectively serves as a detective service for the Highway Patrol, where specialized investigators conduct interviews, compile evidence, coordinate for forensic evidence testing, and prepare a prosecution packet that's submitted to district and county attorneys. This allows for that road trooper to return to law enforcement duties as soon as possible, while an experienced investigator carries the case to completion. Troop O also includes the Critical Highway Accident Response Team, or CHART. That's composed of highly trained officers specializing in crash reconstruction. So these officers investigate serious fatal collision, which usually involve commercial motor carriers, to determine the cause. So in FY 2024, just as a reference, the chart investigated 199 fatal crashes, and that included 48 commercial motor vehicles. Troop V is the last element of that investigative bureau I want to talk about. So pursuant to KSA 8-116A, the Troop V Vehicle Identification Number, or VIN inspection program, addresses auto theft by inspecting vehicles purchased outside of Kansas, clearing them to receive Kansas title and registration. Troopers and civilian inspectors conduct their work from inspection sites located throughout the state. Their work increases the recovery of stolen vehicles and component parts, and it detects and prevents title fraud. Additionally, the unit trains Kansas local law enforcement agencies in auto theft investigation techniques and vehicle inspection processes that can be conducted locally. So for reference, in FY 2024, the unit conducted over 161,000 inspections and recovered 205 stolen vehicles. This is the last component of the reorganization I want to talk about, is related to administrative services. Previously functions such as finance, human resources, and IT fell under the command of a sworn officer. Because these functions relate more to business operations rather than law enforcement practices, the organization placed these aspects under the supervision of a civilian deputy secretary for business operations. So that person would have more knowledge in fiscal matters, contracting, and personnel, while allowing those sworn officers to focus more on the positions related to law enforcement practices. Further, an executive office position was established to secure resources, and those can include federal and private grant funding opportunities. I want to quickly talk about some recent successes. Memorandum of Agreement. In 2024, members of the Executive Command and representatives from the Kansas State Troopers Association negotiated a new Memorandum of Understanding within 28 days. I'm told that's a pretty quick process, and as previous attempts at that negotiation sometimes ran 3 to 4 months, we were able to wrap that up in 28 days. Just as a reminder, that MOA defines several personnel matters related to troopers, so including compensation, employee rights, and work requirements. Updates to this MOA included scheduling matters, overtime pay improvements, shift differentials, and expanded residency requirements. I want to talk quickly about the table of penalties. So in light of some adverse personnel actions over the years, the KHP updated its disciplinary policies to include a table of penalties that clarifies the type of penalties that may result from an act of misconduct. The change clarifies to all parties and enhances consistent application of discipline. So you might think of misconduct might range from aspects such as use of tobacco while on the job to disobeying a lawful order. Penalties might range from counseling to termination. Trooper recruitment, hire practices, and recruitment efforts were improved to attract qualified applicants. A condensed academy course is now offered to out-of-state law enforcement officers, and a new aptitude test is implemented. Background investigations now involve a third-party platform that allows KHP to easily exchange applicant employment history in a secure manner. I want to quickly review some agency staffing. So as of January 13th, 2025, KHP employed a total of 781 individuals. That includes 466 sworn officers. And when we say sworn officers, we're talking about both state troopers and our law enforcement officers, or LEOs, employed at the Highway Patrol. So 427 troopers. That includes all the way from trooper trainee to the colonel. We have 33 law enforcement officers that work in the Capitol Police and 6 law enforcement officers that work in the Motor Carrier Inspection Program. So they supervise scale houses and work with weight enforcement requirements for motor carriers. At 466 officers, we are down 67 positions, or 13, and that's below our target of 433 sworn officers. We also have 19 uniformed members serving as Capitol area guards. So these individuals are not sworn officers, but provide security and monitoring services for agencies in the Capitol complex that request such services. KHP has 296 civilian positions. They range all the way from administrative assistant to Kansas Criminal Justice Information System auditor. We currently have 32 vacancies in those civilian positions, with some of the most difficult positions to fill include positions such as dispatchers, VIN inspectors, and motor carrier inspectors. This is a snapshot of our trooper trainees. So these are trooper trainees serve in that position until they complete their training academy, which is a 23-week course, and then they are moved, and then they become troopers. So KHP graduated 29 individuals in 2023 and 27 individuals in 2024. So just as a reminder, this program through our training academy is the only way that we get new troopers. It is the primary way to create a state trooper is through this training academy. So recent strategies to aid in recruiting effort in 2023, that application process was streamlined. We implemented a condensed training academy of 13 weeks for troopers with 3 years of law enforcement experience in Kansas. So they may come to us from some other law enforcement agency where they were a certified law enforcement officer, so they're allowed to go through a condensed academy. We did assign adjunct recruiters in the field. In 2024, we implemented out-of-state recruitment with marketing campaigns launched in several surrounding states. And in 2024, once a final offer of employment is confirmed, applicants may begin employment at KHP, even in a civilian role, such as a VIN inspector, while awaiting to start their upcoming recruiting class. So those classes only occur at specific times throughout the year. So once we bring them on the board, we can hold them in a civilian position until they begin that course. I talk a little bit about some of the local law enforcement. KHP offers a variety of law enforcement assistance to local law enforcement agencies. They include crash investigations, aircraft operations, and just as a reminder, the Highway Patrol is the only law enforcement entity in Kansas that operates an aircraft unit. So as places such as the Wichita PD or Topeka PD no longer maintain their own helicopters. It's a fairly resource-intensive endeavor to maintain these capabilities. So KHP is able to maintain them and provide these services to local law enforcement agencies. Other ways to support local law enforcement, we have teams that specialize in hostage rescue. We have canine units that can conduct searches of areas, and they can also search for explosive devices, and a variety of other services. So as part of this, we also did some analysis on what some of those services were. You'll see that in a handout that was given to each of you. It describes some of those instances. So services such as Troop T air support. 101 local law enforcement agencies were assisted. Those included manhunts, patrols, vehicle pursuits, missing person searches, surveillances. The Critical Highway Accident Response Team, they provided assistance on 29 instances with crash investigations, forensic mapping, drone imaging, airbag control module downloads. So you can see some of the variety of services that we provide in support of local law enforcement. Just want to quickly hit on a few initiatives that the Highway Patrol will be exploring this year. You'll see the first one, amending the definition of reckless driving. So in recent years, KHP has observed an increase in excessive speeding. To mitigate this, the Highway Patrol will seek legislation that amends the definition of reckless driving to clarify that when a driver travels 100 miles per hour more, or when a driver travels 35 miles per hour above the posted limit, they have committed reckless driving. So this change would not alter the penalties for reckless driving, but would simply clarify exactly when a driver's speed constitutes that offense. The other item you'll see there is ignition interlock device, manufacturer fee. The Highway Patrol will seek legislation that would amend statutes that require manufacturers of IIDs to pay fees for costs associated with administering the program. So the IID program involves the installation of breathalyzers in vehicles to prevent individuals from driving under the influence. So administration of that program, which is done by the Highway Patrol, incurs significant expenses for maintaining the devices, inspections, and overseeing customer compliance. The fee to the manufacturers would generate revenue to offset the use of appropriated state funds for that program. Mr. Chairman, that was a very quick once over, so I'm happy to stand for questions, or the Colonel is available to come up and speak to the committee.
Colonel, did you want to say a few words to the committee before we start into the questions, or do you want to wait? Okay. Representative Proctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got three questions, if you don't mind. So the first one, there was a recent report in the Sunflower State Journal that we're seeing a decrease in fentanyl here in the state of Kansas. Is that accurate? Is that what you're seeing on the highways?
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, the Colonel might be able to answer this more thoroughly. From our perspective, on law enforcement on just the highway, which is where we would have purview, it's my understanding it's remained fairly consistent with previous years. So that's not a statewide snapshot. So the KBI may have a more comprehensive assessment of the presence and access to fentanyl across the state.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Proctor, I think probably the easiest way to answer that question is just to state that the trends for interdiction ebb and they flow, whereas, for example, the KBI may be involved in longer-term investigations that result in a significant number of arrests and some pretty serious charges. Their seizures through confidential informant purchases or undercover purchases may look to be statistically low, where in the case of the Highway Patrol, one traffic stop and one seizure could yield several hundred pounds of fentanyl powder or several thousand dosage units of. So those statistics represent any snapshot in time, and they're not necessarily representative of the problem that continues to be pervasive and persistent in the community.
Follow up if I could, sir.
Yeah, and just real quickly, I just want to note for those watching on the WebEx, it's Colonel Eric Smith with the Kansas Highway Patrol.
Are your officers carrying naloxone on them, and are they able to administer to somebody they find overdosing, or is it just for themselves?
They are carrying it, and they are trained to administer to both themselves, a colleague, or a citizen in need.
Is there any legal impediment to use, I mean, liability or anything like that that we could clear up?
There is not, to my knowledge. Good Samaritan premise is in effect in that.
And my final question, I think it was a year ago it may have been 2 years ago, I can't remember, it all runs together, but at the Kansas Security Committee, we had a conversation about xylazine coming from the West Coast and making its way into Kansas. Have you seen an uptick in that, or has it remained pretty steady, the amount that you're seeing?
No, I've not seen an uptick. I am aware of some seizures and some submissions to the lab, but I don't think that they're, at least from what I've seen, a spike in that in Kansas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do you have any other questions for Colonel Smith or Representative Minix?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you guys for being here today. Just from a community perspective, a public service announcement, I guess. If I have an EV battery run dead on the turnpike, who do I call? If I get that powdered substance in a letter, what phone call do I make? Who does the general public need to contact first? So, some of it sounds obviously 911, but I'm sure there's some others.
So the answer is for every scenario. If you're stranded on the highway with an EV battery issue or a flat tire or a tank of gas that's empty, you can dial *47 and the Kansas Highway Patrol dispatcher can direct assistance your way. There may be a variety of remedies, whether that's a ride or a can of gas, and I don't know that our MAV units are equipped with EV jump starters at this point yet, but we'll certainly look into that. With respect to your question on powdered substance, it really depends on where you receive that letter. If that were to happen here at the State House, you'd need to contact Capitol Police, and they would respond to that anywhere within the Capitol complex. If that happens at your home, back in your home district, you'd need to call 911 and have your local police or sheriff respond to that. They'll muster up local resources for the hazardous material response. And then they would alert the Kansas Bureau of Investigation and the Capitol Police, and we would jointly look into that matter.
Any other questions? All right. Oh, Representative Helgerson.
It was actually from Rural First. Did the Highway Patrol pay a bounty to get you from research?
They, no, sir, they did not pay a bounty.
Okay. And can you explain a little bit, how many are you short now in troopers?
67 short below what our target is of 533.
And how many are you funded?
So we have funds available to support all of those 533 positions, although we typically don't budget that full amount because it's difficult to know. It's difficult to know whether we will have, that we would reach that full amount of 533.
67 is what, 100,000 each?
That's probably an average cost for the sworn officers.
Okay. How many are in the pipeline in training?
I think currently this year,
Just ballpark.
I think it's about 27 to 29 to 30.
Just 27.
I'd say it's, those classes usually are about 30 individuals.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none. Do you want to say something?
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to add a little piece of clarification to the representative's last question. It costs about $180,000, $185,000 to initially train and fully equip with uniforms, weapons, vehicles, that type of thing. So the startup cost for an initial trooper coming in is about $180,000 to $185,000. We budget for 30 of those annually, although we're in the first half of our training cycle and we've got 22 to 24 in. We'll repeat that again in June and July of this year, so we may blow way through that initial estimate of 30.
All right. Thank you very much for the presentation. Any other comments, questions? All right. Committee, just to give you a little heads up on what we got coming down the road. Obviously, tomorrow we're going to have Secretary Reed here to give us KDOT 101. Monday, we'll have a Division of Motor Vehicles, and we'll also have a Drive to Zero. It's a highway safety initiative of the state of Kansas. Tuesday, we're going to start hearing bills. So it'll be interesting for some of you that are new to the process. We're going to hear HB 2030 dealing with manufacturers of trailers, exempting them from certain provisions of the Vehicle Dealers and Manufacturers Licensing Act. Something about allowing driving school instructors to live in another state. And then also road naming bill for former Representative Marvin Robinson. So there will be more. That's for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We don't have anything currently scheduled for Thursday, but we'll try to fill it in as we get more bills in the hopper. So thought I'd give you a heads up on what's coming. If there's nothing further for the committee, we're adjourned. Thank you.